All right, today's video reference, we've passed a level and we're moving on to variables on both sides equations. All right, so with that being said, there's only one new step to variables on both equations. You're still going to distribute, if you see any distributing on both sides of the equation, you're going to combine like terms first. And then here's the new part. Get rid of the variables on one side. And the rule of thumb, as we learned already from Math Message, is to get rid of the smaller variable term first. You could do it the other way, but it just is easier to get rid of the smaller term first. For example, if you had like 3 minus 9x equals 2x. So you can see as we're going through this video, when we have this step coming up, which is number 3, I'm going to circle the variable terms, and x's are your variables. Can someone tell me which variable term is smaller? Which one would you get rid of first? Hopefully you said negative 9x, because negative 9 is smaller than 2, even though the digit 9 is bigger than the digit 2. So you would do what to both sides? Add 9x, add 9x. 3 equals 11x, and then this would come out to a fraction, divide by 11. Anyone know what you would write as a fraction there? Just 3/11ths. Okay, so let's go through some examples, and similar to the last video reference, we'll go through one step at a time, and we'll throw a bunch of couches. So if you look here at example 1, so again, when you see those blue circles, that means we're at step 3. The equation is simple as possible, but there's variables on both sides. And there's still going to be a red line in between, and this time I highlighted the variable throughout the entire equation. So can someone tell me, for example 1, which variable will I get rid of first? Which variable term? Hopefully you said negative 2m. So how would I get rid of that? Add 2m to both sides. And what would I be left with? 24 equals 10m. So now I'm at the point where I can just solve my, in this case, one-step example. What do I do to both sides? Divide by 10. And then how would you write this answer? So there's a few answers for this. You could have said 2 4/10, 2 2/5, or 2.4 for m. Great, let's look at example 2. All right, so raise your hand in example 2. What variable term will I eliminate from my equation? Negative 3k. So what would I do to both sides? Add 3k. What am I left with? 9 equals 17 plus 1k, or just k. Now it's really just one step to solve this. What do I do to both sides? Minus 17. And the final answer would be k equals negative 8. Moving on to number 3. Here we have some distributive property. So the first thing I need someone to do is distribute this 2 for me on the right side of the equation. And you get 6x minus 8. So now you notice it's as simple as possible, so I circle these in blue. Which variable term will I eliminate? The 5x. So what will I do to both sides? Minus 5x. And what am I left with? Negative 2 equals x minus 8. And then what do I do to both sides to solve? Plus 8. And the final answer would be x equals 6. Great, let's turn the page and look at example 4 on page 10. So this one is very much similar to example 3. I'm going to pause the video here and see if you can solve this example for C. All right, if you did it right, did you get C equals 2? So here's a nice example to look at from the beginning. So after you distribute, it's as simple as possible. So the blue circles came in, and you can see that the negative 4c is smaller. So I added 4c to both sides. Now all of a sudden the highlighting is just on the right side of the equation because my variable's there. And then I added 15 and divided by 9, and I got 2. Great. Number 5. We're going to get a little bit more complicated here. We're going to have to distribute twice. Someone think they can distribute the 2 on the left and the 3 on the right. So you get 8y minus 10 equals 18y plus 45. So now, again, this is as simple as it gets. Which variable am I going to get rid of first? 8y because it's smaller. So I minus 8y from both sides. And what am I left with? Negative 10, again, bring down that negative sign all the time, is equal to 10y plus 45. And now it's a two-step equation. What's my first step? Minus 45 from both sides. What am I left with? 10y equals negative 55. So I already can tell this is going to be a fraction answer. So what do I do next? Divide by 10, excuse me. And then I'm left with what for an answer? Negative 5 and 5/10, or negative 5 1/2. All right, number 6 and 7. These are the long ones because we're going to have to distribute and combine some like terms for these. Who wants to distribute the 3 on the left? 3x minus 21. Now notice there's no blue circles yet because on this side I still need to combine like terms. We can combine 3 and negative 21. Negative 18 plus 3x, or you could have wrote 3x minus 18. Now I circle the variable terms. So which variable term am I going to get rid of? The 3x. And what am I going to do to both sides? Minus 3x. What are we left with? Negative 18 equals negative 9 plus 3x. So again, now all the highlighting is just on the right. Two-step equation. What's the first step? Add 9. What am I left with? Negative 9 equals 3x. Next step, divide by 3. And of course, x equals negative 3. All right, number 7. I'm going to pause it again and let you try this one with a partner. And then we'll go back and go step by step because this is the hardest equation we've done the entire year so far. All right, so who wants to distribute on the left side here, the 6 minus 48x, sorry. So we got, on this side, we got some combining of like terms. What did you combine? Negative 48x and 3x. And what did that combine to be? Negative 45x plus 6, and then over here. Which term is smaller? Negative 45 is smaller, so I added 45x to both sides. What am I left with? This would just be 6 equals 40x plus 6. And then it's just an easy two-step equation. What's the first step? Minus 6. Now this is where things got interesting. I wonder if you and your partner realize this, because you're just left with 0. So 40x equals 0. The next step is to divide by 40. You're literally 0 divided by 40 confuses people. It's actually just x equals 0 there. So hopefully this helped. We'll practice these in class.